brand new counselor? Or are you a veteran counselor in your building? If so, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will have 6 tips that will help you transition and have a rock star start to your school year. Try saying that 3 times fast, rock star start. My name is John Burnett, and this is Counseling with Mr. B, where I help you live, learn, and be stress-free. This is my 11th year in education and my 5th year being a school counselor, and I love it. There's so many lessons that I've learned along the way. There are so many things that you'll have to learn in order to prepare for this school year. It can become overwhelming, it can become stressful, it might even produce some anxiety. My intention is to leave you with 6 tips that you can do or you can start thinking about so that you can have a transition to a great school year. Be sure to watch to the end and get all 6 tips and let me know in the comments which tip is your favorite one. This is one of the most rewarding careers that you'll ever know. I love impacting lives, being a positive role model, and helping students, communities, and families with so many things, especially academics, social, emotional, and college and career readiness type topics. As a counselor, we have an important role. We wear many hats, we're busy, but it's so rewarding to see at the end of the school year all the things and look back and reflect on all the things that you were a part of or had a hand in creating. On the downside, being a counselor can be very lonely at times because especially if you're the only counselor in your building, you may feel like you don't know where to start or what to do. But my job is to impart some knowledge on you. So by the time you leave here today, you will be able to take these 6 tips and live your best life and be the great counselor that you are intended to be this school year. Tip number 1, relationships are key. As a counselor, relationships are super important. There are so many people that you come in contact with daily, whether that's students, families, staff members, teachers, whoever. It's important to build relationships early on. So let's start with the students. Here are a couple things that you can do in order to make sure that you are building relationships with students. Learn their names. I learn names of students super quickly, and it's really important for them. Greeting students by their name is super special, and it makes them feel important. So one way that I do this is, of course, I visit classrooms every single morning. So after the announcements, I go say good morning to all of my students, and this is a chance for them to stop me if they have anything that they need to tell me about the night before. This is just an opportunity for me to check in with them and be visible. So some people don't like lunch duty. I actually enjoy it because it's an opportunity again for me to see our kids in their own setting. I can make observations, learn them, learn their habits, learn their friends, just learn so many different things about them. So one thing that I do is every single day I come up with a specific question. What was the most exciting vacation you ever been on and where did you go or what did you do? So I ask as many kids as I can this question and I remember it so that when it comes up in conversation later on, I'm able to build upon that and build a relationship with those students. Another thing that you should do in order to build relationships is talk to your school leader. At the beginning of the school year, and I'm going to talk more about this in tip number 2, but it's really important for you to learn everybody's role and function as far as the people that you will be working with and supporting. Another group of people to really intentionally build relationships with are your office staff, custodians, teaching assistants. Whenever you have a program or something going on at your school, these are the people that know these things and they can help you. Tip number 2, it's very complex and I'm only going to touch on it a little bit because I'm going to do a whole nother video on this topic. Build out your program intentionally. In order to do that, there's so many things that you have to consider. First, I would say talk to your school leader and really be aligned with the school's mission, vision, and values. And ask that particular leader or leaders what direction they would like to go in for that school year so that you can build out your program. After you've done that, then start looking at data if you haven't done it already. You can look at attendance data, behavior data, discipline, referrals, all of those things. Where are the areas that you can start building out those individual lessons, start creating classroom guidance lessons or classroom lessons? Send out a needs assessment to students, staff, and family members. So what a needs assessment, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It can be just simple questions. You're simply asking them specific questions that they can answer, and that'll help you build your lessons. It can be a Likert scale or it can be a true false type thing. to where, like, for example, I make friends easily. That's an answer that will help you build out your social skills groups for students. For teachers, I would recommend waiting until about September or October to give out needs assessments. That'll give them enough time to learn their particular group of students so that they can refer them. And for families, you can create a very simple needs assessment for families. After you send out your needs assessments and gotten those back, then you can start building out your lessons if you haven't done so already. So now it's time to start promoting yourself as a school counselor. So building a website or handing out a flyer or making a YouTube video, but some type of way to introduce yourself to your students is a really great idea. Tip number 3 involves being organized. So this is a lesson I had to learn the hard way. My second year as a counselor, I was an elementary school counselor in a very large school. We had about 1,200 students, and with that, I had about 27 classes that I saw twice a month, and I did classroom lessons with them. At the beginning, I was pulling resources from here and there, from Teachers Pay Teachers or things that the previous counselor left behind. I was like pulling so many different resources, and it just got to be overwhelming, creating lessons every single day. I had kindergartners through 5th grade, so I had to do a variety of lessons. When I started doing lessons, I would make one for kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and then I would make another lesson for 3 through 5th, and all I would do is adjust it. I would make it more age appropriate. Lessons and resources that I had from the previous school year that I would just adapt. And to this day, I still use some of those lessons and just make them accordingly, and I work in middle school now. But that just shows you that being organized is really important. Get binders, get a file cabinet, find some type of way to organize your material. So I had students come in my office early on in my career before I learned the lesson of being organized. And they would come to me and say, Mr. Burnett, I have anxiety, I'm depressed, or, I'm just not feeling my best. And I'll be like, oh, I have the perfect thing for you. I have this mindfulness activity. Hold on, let me sift through let me look through all these papers in my file cabinet and find it. And the students just waiting there. They're missing instructional time. It makes me look unorganized and not professional. I learned that you have to start putting all your materials in the same spot or somewhere similar to where you know where to get to them and where students know where to get to them if you're not in your office. So being organized is super important. Tip number 4 involves collaboration and consultation. Ask questions. You may be a new counselor in your building and there's going to be so much that you have to learn. Ask questions. Don't be afraid or timid or shy to ask people. That's why it's important to build those relationships with people. And like I said, ask when you don't know something. If you don't already have one, get a mentor. If you're not automatically assigned a mentor by your school district, it's important to reach out and network on either Facebook groups or LinkedIn, but find a way to connect with other counselors. Twitter, Instagram, there's so many different ways that you can get in contact with people. And like I said, that's one of the things that I really enjoy is helping other counselors and imparting some knowledge or skill that I've learned to help someone else smoothly transition into their job. You see how I said smoothly? That was smooth. It just rolled right off my tongue. Collaborate with teachers, with administrators. So especially if you're a new counselor or new to your building, there are things that other people know that you need to know. So it's important for you to go to grade level team meetings, participate in leadership meetings, all those things so that you can get knowledge so that you can build your program, be professional, and impact the lives of students. Tip number 5 involves giving yourself grace. You're going to make mistakes. Everyone does. Even if you're a veteran counselor who's been in this role for many, many years, there's still things that you can do that you might make mistakes on. So give yourself grace to learn and to grow. A mistake is only a mistake if you keep repeating it over and over again. The whole purpose is for you to learn something from it, make an adjustment, and do something different. So again, don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. Another important thing to consider is that you're not going to please everyone. You can be the most organized counselor, you can be the most friendly, the most upbeat, you can be the most impactful, but someone still might have an issue with either you, your energy, or the things that you do. Just advocate for kids. If you're doing the right thing for students and kids and families, that's all that's important. Some people may not like the way that you do things, but as long as you're doing it professionally and you know that you're doing the right things for kids and students and families, that's all that really matters. You're not going to be able to please everyone, and that's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way too. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section and I'll be sure to answer them and get back with you. But the last tip is really important too. Set boundaries. You have to take care of yourself. In helping professions, it's easy to get burned out and get tired. It's called compassion fatigue. When you're around students or families and you hear all these stories that touch your heart and that are sad, and you're an empathetic person, sometimes that energy, you take it on. And you have to realize that if you're doing the best that you can do, that's really all that you can do. There's going to be so many things that you can't change, and it's heartbreaking and it's sad, but you have to be able to take care of yourself. Self-care is a must. No matter how tired you are when you leave that building, you have to set aside at least 10 to 15 minutes to get yourself back in order so that you can help other people. There's a saying, and I'm sure you heard it, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to be able to help other people, but help yourself too. I live an hour from my school, so I have plenty of time on my commute to listen to podcasts, listen to my favorite jams, like my 80s and 90s R&B. Like, I love it because it helps me get back in the mindset. And I'm driving by myself, so I'm singing at the top of my lungs. It's just fun. It's self-care for me. Another part of self-care is set boundaries. I don't take any work home with me. I have learned that when I used to do that, I would take my whole backpack home with me with my laptop and all those things, and it would just sit in the car. I know I'm not the only one who does that. When I leave that building, I do not check emails, because let me tell you why. A couple years into my teaching career, I checked my email at really late at night. It was like 9:30, right when I was getting ready to go to bed. It was an email from an angry parent, and I was concerned, worried about what was going on, a little mad myself for getting that message, and I wasn't able to sleep. So I have learned I don't check emails at home. Again, that's just a way for me to set up a boundary so that I can have a balance between my personal life and my life at school. I hope that this really helped you. You are going to be amazing in your new role. I know you are. You have to know you are. But you also have to take these things into consideration and drop in the comment section, what was your favorite tip that you heard me say? Can't wait to be in connection with you. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Again, I'm so excited for you. Have a great school year.